Quite a few times.
50 times?
More.
100 times?
More.
200 times?
More.
500 times?
Probably.
Come on in, family. I'm Pastor Carolyn, your pastor and purpose pusher of Tears to Breakthrough Ministry, T2B Global. Wow, Reesa, Teesa, you have opened up Pandora's box, let me tell you. And so the ladies from my Kingdom Purpose Academy, they voted, and we are having a discussion about Reesa Teesa and her story, as well as our stories. So if you would like to join us in a safe environment, a safe space, it'll be via Zoom. It'll be private, it'll be safe, it'll be a place where you can be yourself, your authentic self, not be judged, be loved on, being prayed for, being supportive. Then go to my link tree and sign up. Okay, now I have to tell you, it is $10, and I know I've gotten grief from some of you who are like, "Why do I have to pay? Why is it $10?" Well, let me tell you why it's $10, because it's a membership. My Queen of Purpose Academy ladies have purchased memberships. Some of them have had memberships for a couple of years, so it's not fair for you to just come in and join the roundtable discussion, and you haven't contributed anything. You haven't invested anything. So if you don't want to invest $10 in your healing, because this is about healing, this is not just trauma dumping. Excuse me, no, we are healing. We are helping each other heal. We're helping each other grow. We're helping each other to be delivered and set free. It's time to set the captives free. So with that said, I want to share a little bit of my story. We'll discuss the rest during this session, the roundtable discussion. So I too have survived a legion. Okay, I was married to a pathological liar, and I know many of you have made comments. I've heard all the comments about how some of you don't believe Reesa Teesa's story, and just I've heard some horrible comments actually, and that's another reason why I don't want to share everything on social media. I want to be in a private, safe setting where people can just be themselves and share without all of the drama. Okay, but so I just want to say, extend grace to that young woman, because it took a lot for her to come online and share her story. I know it's healing for her, but show her some grace. But let me just quickly share a little bit about some of my experiences with the pathological liar that I was married to. We got married young. We got married when we were very young, actually. We grew up together. Our families were close. So I had no reason to ever believe that he was this person that he was while we were married. I mean, I just didn't know. I did not know. So with that said, we get married. And for the first 2 years, the marriage was absolutely beautiful. We had our son, everything was wonderful. But he did have a lifelong dream of becoming a professional football player. What is the deal with these football players and these guys that have these dreams to become a football player? So that was his dream. Okay, he played in high school. He was very good, apparently. And try to make a long story short, for the sake of time, he was picked up by the American Football League. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a little more seasoned. So this is back in the 80s, okay? There was a league called the United States Football League, the USFL. He was picked up by them. And it was an American Football League, which played for 3 seasons, from 1983 through 1985. And the league played a spring-summer schedule. And so each summer, the first 2 summers, my son and I would go with him, okay, while he played. But the last summer that he went, the 3rd summer, he gave me all kinds of excuses as to why my son and I couldn't go. So finally, he wore me down. I agreed I wouldn't go. So I ended up staying home with my son that summer, took some summer classes at our community college. And when he came back in the fall, when he returned home in the fall, things just seemed to be different. And I couldn't quite put my fingers on it. I didn't understand what was happening, but things were different. So I ended up getting a call one day from a young woman who called to looking for him. Now let me back up some. I am the person in my family that everybody goes through for everything. I'm the one in my family that if somebody in old school friend, somebody from high school or elementary school want to reach one of my siblings, they will contact me first and ask me how they're doing and try to help have me connect them with the family member. I'm that person. So this is how a pathological liar's mind works. So he apparently thought this thing through. Okay, so he told this woman that he did a lot of traveling because she knew he was married at some point, that he did a lot of traveling in the house that we lived in while we were married, because we were no longer married, we were separated. I think he told her. So I no longer lived in that house. My son no longer lived in that house, but he lived in that house. But because our families were so close, my sister rented a room from him in that house, which was a lie, because she was in college. Now, she was in college, that part was true, but she did not rent a room from him. She actually lived on campus in college, okay? So that was a lie, but that was his way of, I guess he anticipated at some point this woman will call the house, and I guess he felt like if she used the name of my sister, I only know what he thought. But so anyway, she calls the house one day, and she uses that, she asked for him. I said he wasn't home. She said, well, is this so-and-so, assuming that I was my sister? And I said, no. I said, that's my sister. I said, I am, and I gave her my name. And she says, oh, I thought you two were separated. And I said, well, so now I'm thinking, well, okay, so who are you again? I said, no, we're not separated. We've never been separated. We've been married for 3 years, a little over 3 years, actually. And I said, and so who are you again? So I started asking her questions. And so this is when she proceeded to tell me that the two of them had been seeing each other for 2 years. And she said to me, and he took me with him. I was with him all summer while he was playing football. And I said, really? And so at that point, I started asking her questions, and she started, because I knew the one thing about the pathological liars, when you confront them, you better have receipts. Okay, so I proceeded to ask her as many questions as I could to get the answer. So when I confronted him, he couldn't lie his way out. So she gave me a lot of information, oh my goodness, that led me to the fact that they were seeing each other for 2 years, 2 years, and I had no idea. 2 years. And so listen to this though. So the reason why she was calling me, she said, is because since they returned home, she hadn't heard from him, and she's been calling him, and he's been ignoring her calls. In other words, he ghosted her. Okay, but listen to this. But she saw him on his motorcycle one day with another woman. Okay, now keep in mind, I'm the wife. She's the other woman that saw him with another woman. Okay, so now that's why she's calling, because he ghosted her and he's not returning her calls. So I said, what? So she's crying on the phone. I'm like, girl, how are you crying? I'm the wife. If anybody should be crying, I should be crying. So I found myself consoling her. And then to make things worse, she tells me she's pregnant. I'm going to stop the story right there. We're going to pick it up at the round table. I may come back on here and kind of continue it with you guys, but I'm just telling you, a pathological liar, they lie about everything. And it's just the whole thing. And I love that Reesa, Teesa named him Legion, right? Because in Mark 5:9, I'm just going to read that to you really quick. It says, Jesus is asking, what is your name? When they cast the demons out, right? And the demon said, my name is Legion, he replied, for we are many. For we are many. And so when you connect with one of those demons, honey, and they wear many faces, they tell many lies. And ladies, we got to heal from that. It took me many years to heal from that marriage. And ended up turning, it's even so much more to it. It ended up becoming DV'd. oh my goodness, it was like a whole thing. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it further. If you want to join us, register on my link tree, and I'll see you on the inside. We'll talk further.